Okay, in the last lecture we talked about the course contents, and then we talked about books that are recommended. Okay, so in this lecture let us talk about a definition of a signal. Okay, so a signal is a function of one or more variables, and accordingly it can be a one dimensional signal, a two dimensional signal, or multi-dimensional signal. And we can also classify the signals into two types. Okay, so basically there are two kinds of signals: analog and digital. So based on the variables you can call it a one dimensional signal, two dimensional signal, or multi-dimensional signal. Okay, so now the question is, analog can be continuous time or discrete time. So in the analog itself it can be a continuous time and discrete time. Even though the time is discretized, but still that signal is called analog signal. Okay, don't get panic, so we will give the explanation for that. Okay, so a discrete time signal is not a digital signal. Digital signal is different from discrete time signal. So a discrete time signal is one in which the amplitude is continuous. The amplitude is a continuum. But in digital signal, both the time and amplitude are discrete. Okay, so on the other hand, if you on the other hand, the time is discretized. Okay, in the discrete time signal. Okay, but still the discrete time signal is analog. Okay, now when the signal is discretized in the amplitude also. Okay, when a discrete time signal is passed through an A to D converter, analog to digital converter, then it becomes a digital signal. Okay, therefore there is a difference between analog signal and digital signal. So let me write down properly. Signal can be classified into analog signal and digital signal. In analog, again you have continuous time and discrete time. See, only time is discretized but not the amplitude. So what you do is, once you discretize the time, you pass it through A to D converter and then you'll get discrete signal. That's it. Okay, and then we also and then we can also emphasize, okay, so why this digital signal processing is important. Just 1 second. Okay, so now let us talk about the need for DSP. Okay, now why one should process a signal? So the reason is to obtain a better quality signal than the original one. It could be, for example, noise filtering. So you can filter out the noise. Okay, and you can improve the quality of the picture, for example, in terms of brightness or contrast or whatever it is. Improve the quality. Okay, so we said that signal processing that one can make again can be of three types. So you can do the signal processing in in three ways. Okay, so you can have a analog signal processing, ASP, and then you can do digital signal processing, and then something is called mixed signal processing, MSP. Mixed signal processing, and this is digital signal processing. And analog signal processing. Okay, okay, so prior to 1970s, the analog signal processing were dominated. So between 1970 and let's say 2000, it is basically digital signal processing which got a dominance over analog signal processing. And the current trend is to have mixed signal processing, namely combination of analog and digital. Okay, now the next question that we would like to talk about is why digital signal processing? Okay, why not with ASP alone? 1970 analog signal processing, and 1980 onwards DSP, and after 2000 mixed signal processing, MSP. Now the question is why DSP? Okay, so why can't we do with analog signal processing alone or analog signal processing only? Because most of the signals in practice are analog. You take voice signal or picture signal or any pressure signal or temperature signal or whatever it is. Most of the signals which are occurring in practice are analog signals. Then why do we need digital signal processing? Okay, so DSP should be the natural choice if the signal is digital. But naturally the signals are not in digital, they are analog, right? Then what is the natural choice for analog signal? Okay, now in fact you can take data, for example, rain at Tiruchirappalli over the last 20 years, let's say 2000, 2001, 2002 and so on up to 2019. You can take the rain data at Trichy. Okay, and you can predict the rainfall in the coming year in 2020 or 21. Okay, you can take up to 2020. Okay, sometimes the prediction fails. Okay, so they fail miserably. But the data that you collect is a digital data. Okay, so you collect the data in 2000 and you collect in the year 2001 and so on and so forth. So many inches rainfall in 2000 or so many centimeters in 2000, 2001 and so on and so forth. Now the amplitude can be continuum. So it is a discrete time, okay. But the amplitude or the number of inches of a rainfall can also be coded if you so desired. So if you want to do DSP, digital signal processing, on this rainfall data, then the amplitude or height of the rainfall can also be coded. If you look at here, the time is discretized here. See, 2000, 2001, 2002 like this, time is discretized. So there is nothing in between 2000 and 2001. Okay, nothing like 2000.5 or 2000.6 like that. So the natural choice would be DSP. And this is what is done. The data is fed with many other parameters like controlling monsoon or rainfall to a computer, which basically does DSP. Now the next question is, what is DSP? Actually what it does, okay, in digital signal processing, what generally we will do. So basically the DSP does only 3 operations. Okay, it does not do beyond that. The first thing is addition, and then second one is multiplication, and the third one is delay, or I can say recalling of past signals. Okay, so the DSP does only 3 operations. Even if the signal is analog, one prefers to use DSP, and the reasons are many. Okay, so DSP has many advantages over ASP, analog signal processing, and many times it happens to be a less costly proposition. Okay, because digital ICs are available off the shelf. At a very low cost, and therefore in many cases analog signal processing gives way to DSP even if the original signal is analog. How it is done is represented by the following diagram. So let me draw the diagram. So you have analog signal, analog input, and this analog input is given to sample and hold. So I will talk about elaborately sampling a little later. Sample and hold. Okay, so here the input is analog, then we have a sample and hold device, which basically consists of a switch which samples the data, sample the analog signal, but it holds it for some time. Why? Because we need to convert the analog signal to digital signal. For that, A to D operation has to be done. For that reason, we need to put a hold circuit. Okay, so it holds it for some time so that it can be converted to a digital form. Because as I said, conversion from analog to digital requires time, and during that time the signal must be held. Signal must be held constant. So let me draw a figure. You have a signal like this. You sample the signal at a specific point. So this is my sampled value. You sample and hold for certain amount of time, and then next sample comes here. Let's say this is 0, 2 microsecond, 4 microsecond, 6 microsecond, and so on and so forth. You hold this duration. So this is your holding time. So that will be done by your holding circuit. The next sample, take the next sample, and this point, this is your next sample. And then at this time duration, you take another sample. Between that, you hold like this, constant. It is held constant. And then come down, again hold constant for a while, and next sample comes here. Then again take the sample. Then it comes down. Then hold for a while. Then next sample comes here, like this. It goes up. So you sample here, hold for a while, then again you sample here at 4 microsecond, then hold constant, then sample this instant, again hold constant, then sample at this point, then maintain constant value, then sample, and then keep on goes like this. So this is 8 microsecond, 10 microsecond, then let's say 12 microsecond, and so on and so forth. So this is time axis and this one is amplitude. So this is what basically done in the first block, sample and hold circuit. Okay. Then after the A to D, you get a coded signal. Okay, so this point you are representing, right? This point is coded in terms of ones and zeros, one like this, and this point also coded like 0 0 1 1 like that. I don't know, so some values 1 0 1 1 0 like that. This all are represented in terms of digital value. Okay, so most usual form is binary form. So we always use binary to represent the sampled value, sampled and hold value. So what basically this does is the combination of signals by multiplication, by addition, and by recalling the past signals, that is through delays. Okay, so basically, as I said, there are three operations: delays, recalling of past signals, multiplication, and addition. So this is what the typical processor does. It is a very simple device. It simply performs three operations. So three operations: addition, multiplication, delay, or recalling of past signals. And you can ask, subtraction. Subtraction also, one form of addition. And the multiplication also is a repeated addition, only two signals at a time. Okay, so subtraction is also a form of addition with one of the signal negated. So you negate some, taking one's complement or two's complement. Probably you will be studying this in digital logic design course, or you might have studied. Okay, so in essence, if you compare to DSP, maybe I'll draw here. Compared to ASP, in ASP generally what we do is we do integration and then differentiation and some complicated operations. Okay, in ASP. But in DSP, there is no integration, there is no differentiation, and there are no complicated operations, which limits the usefulness of analog signal processing. So that is the advantage of your digital signal processing. Okay, let me come back to this diagram. Okay, after this sample and hold circuit, what you get is you'll get a digital data. Okay, ones and zeros. The moment you have ones and zeros, then it's very easy to do the operation. So sorry, let me put A to D converter. I'm sorry, not here. A to D, and here you'll get a digital data, analog to digital converter after that, and then give it to digital processor. Okay, so you must convert to digital form before give it to analogs, before give it to digital processor. And the output of the digital processor is also digital. And in order that this output of the digital processor is useful, you must convert back to analog form, because originally the signal was in analog. So what you do, you put the reverse operation of this guy. What is that reverse operation? D to A converter. So output of D to A converter will be analog signal. Okay, so the output of the digital to analog converter is in the form of a staircase. Okay, So if you look at the waveform looks like this. Okay, so there is a abrupt transitions here. Abrupt transitions. So whenever you have abrupt transitions, then there is a possibility of very high frequencies, abrupt changes. Okay, that means what? Fast changes at the staircases, and therefore there are high frequencies present in the signal. So now we need to have to be gotten rid of by an analog low pass filter. So in these points we have very high frequencies. So how do you get rid of these high frequencies? By putting a low pass filter. And finally the output of the low pass filter is analog. And this analog signal is to be useful. Okay, and it could be, it could, for example, be a piece of music signal. So music signal means you should give it to the loudspeaker. Okay, which has to be filtered from the surrounding noise and perhaps mix up with other signals, and finally it has to be played. So it has to be heard on the loudspeaker, and therefore you do require an analog output at the output of your system. Okay, now let me explain this operation through pictorially. So you have a signal like this, amplitude, time. You sample at every 2 microsecond interval. Let's say 2 microsecond, 4 microsecond, 6 microseconds, 8, 10, 12, like that. You first sample this, hold for a while in order to convert A to D, and then again take the sample, hold for a while, again do the sampling, hold for this duration. Sorry, this is a sampled value, I'm sorry. Like this, then hold, then sample here, then hold, and then sample here. Okay, so these all are sampled values, and then you give it to one second. So let me draw, use this color. This one is analog signal. Okay, then you sample at 2 microseconds, 4 microseconds, 6 microseconds, 8 microseconds. So this type of sampling is called uniform sampling. There is something called non-uniform sampling, but let us not talk about that now. Uniform sampling. Uniform sampling means the sampling interval is uniform, regular. Okay, there is no change, constant. Here also gap is 2 microsecond, here also gap is 2 microsecond, 2 microsecond, 2 microseconds. And at each point, for example, 6 microseconds, you pick up the value of the signal at this point, and then you hold it till the next sample comes. So this holding is required for A to D conversion. Okay, time is required to convert A to D, and A to D conversion typically may look like a sequence of waveforms like this. Okay, so 1 will be represented like this, 0 will be represented like this, like this. You do the conversion. So this is the output of A to D converter. This is 1 and this is 0. Okay, so the output of A to D converter is coded in binary, and 1 is represented by positive pulse and 0 is represented by, let's say, negative pulse. So in order to do this conversion operation, we need a certain amount of time. So for that purpose we are putting a hold circuit here. So without hold circuit, you cannot do this operation because the value will disappear once you do the sampling if you don't have hold circuit. So there are many choices of coding, but this is a typical coding. So one can do that. And then after passing processing by DSP, which carries out operations like multiplication, addition, and delay, then finally you will get a processed signal maybe like this. Just I am drawing some orbital diagram like that. Like that. This is output of your DSP. Okay, so you have a D to A converter which again produces staircase waveform. Output of the DSP is given to D to A convert. Output of DSP is given to D to A converter. So it may looks like this. Like this. So it looks like a staircase waveform. So wherever there is abrupt transitions, then even fast transitions or fast changes, there will be high frequencies. And a typical D to A converter, output looks like this. This one, this is the typical output of D to A converter. And then since it contains very large frequency, you have to remove the high frequencies. Okay, so what you do is you give it to the low pass filter. The low pass filter will charge like this. Like this, it smoothens out. Okay, so high frequency content will be removed. So you may get like this. So this is the output of low pass filter. So sharp transitions or abrupt transitions will be removed. So it contains high frequencies. I mean the D to A converter output contains high frequencies which have to be gotten rid of, and therefore you pass this through an analog low pass filter to get the desired output which may typically look like this. So this is the desired output. Okay, so this picture shows what exactly the operation which are involved in the processing of an analog signal by digital means. So this is my original signal, analog signal. I do the sampling like this at regular intervals, uniform sampling. After that I hold for certain duration. These are called holding times. And then you give it a to D converter. So output of A to D converter is digital, so ones and zeros like this. And then you give it to the processor. This is given to the processor, digital processor. Output of the digital processor looks like this. And then you give it to D to A converter. So D to A converter looks like a staircase waveform. Staircase waveform, and that staircase waveform contains abrupt transitions. So that means which contains very high frequencies. So that has to be eliminated. So because of that, it is given to the low pass filter. So the low pass filter will eliminate or will remove all the high frequency content. You will get a smooth output like this. So this is a typical operation done by digital signal processor. Okay, so let me stop at this point. In the next lecture, I will talk about advantages of DSP over ASP, analog signal processing. Thank you very much.